For far too long now, the liberal media has shoved the religion of plate tectonics down our throat. It's time that we examine the evidence and put an end to this cult. Plate tectonicism is a theory in crisis. More importantly, it's a religion in crisis. And this is for many reasons. This is the reason why there are also so many scientists who are absolutely rejecting plate tectonics, and know that Jesus created the Earth in its present form, just like life coincidentally, some 6,000 years ago. Now, this video is going to contain scientific evidence as well as common sense evidence that everybody can understand as to why plate tectonics is basically a lie from Satan. Now, the first problem with plate tectonics is that it's not even science. Science is defined as being observable. Were you there when the plate spread? No. Nobody was. There are no pictures of them spreading. We don't know. If you weren't there, it's automatically false. This is common sense. Because it's not observable, it is not science. Now, scientists will often point to things such as earthquakes and whatnot and say, aha, plate movement, but that's micro movement. No credible scientist ever questions micro movement, that's a fact. But macro movement, that is a spreading over enormous distances, is impossible. I mean, sure, we've all seen images like this, but these aren't pictures because no one was there. These are made up by people like this. They're drawings. Say that with me. They're drawings. They're not science. Now, in citing evidence for their satanic religion, these scientists will oftentimes look at, say, the west coast of Africa and the eastern coast of South America and say, oh, look at them, they line up perfectly. And there's also certain types of fossils only found 2 places in the world, and they're found in those respective places. Or they'll do something idiotic, like say that rocks cool at a certain time, and the direction of the ions and the atoms in the rock, rather, are always pointed towards the magnetic pole at that time. And they'll take a look at, the direction and the angle, of the rocks in Europe or whatnot and other rocks on the East Coast and see that they line up, and in the Earth in present form, they line up at a point reaching out into space, whereas when the Earth is together, they line up at a point perfectly intersecting on the North Pole. Or they'll take a look at rock banding patterns also over the Atlantic Ocean, but we also all know that that's garbage. Because you know why? Nobody is disputing those facts. It's just the interpretation that we're arguing about. And it's from this that we conclude that Jesus created the Earth in present form, just like the Bible says. I mean, I don't really see how anybody can be stupid enough to argue with it. And some people might say that that's non sequitur or some other fancy Spanish term, but we know that that's garbage. For example, take a look at Lawrence Brink from South Africa. He pointed this out extremely well. He says that these logical fallacies that these Satanists and these evolutionists are pointing out are just made up by people who hate God. And you know what? I couldn't agree with him more. So now you may be asking yourself, why does all this matter? Well, there are a couple reasons. First of all, Hitler accepted plate tectonics. You don't believe it? Well, when you go to hell, you can ask him. Second of all, there are many innocent scientists being fired for not accepting plate tectonics. We can't have this. Check out Ben Stein's new movie, Expelled. The same thing happens with evolution. Now, these stupid scientists may just say, hey, if a scientist is negligent in his work enough to ignore all the data supporting plate tectonics or evolution, then they're likely to be also incompetent enough and not producing research and be a bad teacher. But that's garbage, because we're right. Thirdly, the person who invented the religion of plate tectonics also recanted on his deathbed. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to spread the religion. Fourth, we need to teach opposing ideas. And this is the main thing, is let the debate begin. We need to open up our classrooms to this thing and teach opposing ideas to plate tectonics and evolution and the germ theory of disease. All these things should be open for discussion. Instead, the liberal media seems to be forcing all these intelligent people out of our classrooms. Now, the final proof that the theory of plate tectonics is false, and by the way, it is only a theory, is that the Bible predicts that Christians would be scoffed at for our beliefs. It specifically says this, that for my belief in opposing plate tectonics, I will be scoffed at. The Bible predicts it. We know that it's false. What more could you possibly want?
And I hope you'll join me in sending our liberal friends a message. Open the doors and let the debate begin.